let's start off with some of the commentary that emerged yesterday. We had, first of all, the MPC deciding to increase rates 25 basis points. And while, yes, a surprise to the markets, some saying not hard to believe given all the inflationary risks that persist.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alicia. Yesterday, the MPC met and they decided to move up the MPR by 25 basis points, which came as a shock to most of the analysts because we were expecting that the CBN will keep the rate abreast with what has been maintained since June last year. But having a second look at the decision of the CBN, the first question to ask is that we need to go back and ask ourselves that why did the CBN keep the rate at 6%? It was kept at 6% just to boost lending to the real sector, to bring down the price of lending. But having looked at what has happened in the last 12 months, even why the NPR has been left at 6%, you find out that despite that there has been growth in M2, that's the broad money in circulation, despite that there has been growth in credit to the government, they are still shrinking of credit to the private sector. And that the CBN is like, if this thing is not going to work, then we need to review. And also another major point is the inflationary pressure that this thing is likely going to trigger. Having maintained that the M2 is growing in the economy, then credit is not going to the real sector. Definitely, looking at even what has happened from June to July to August, we have seen that the inflation is trending upward. And also in anticipation of the deregulation of the petroleum sector, in anticipation of the new salary structure for the civil service, in anticipation of the electionary spending as we enter the electionary period, then there is a likelihood that inflation will grow. So that's why the CBN is saying, okay, if I cannot grow the credit, then it's high time for me to just tackle inflation. And I think that's the direction of the CBN.
Babatunde, let's hone in on that point of increasing credit to the real sector of the economy, because a lot of that not happening because of all the uncertainties that prevail within the banking sector as a whole. Are you satisfied with the kind of responses and rhetoric when it comes to AMCON, the setting up of that, and the kind of progress we're seeing on that front as well as on the M&A side of things?
Well, for now, since due to Chinese oil and investment banking and the deals, we don't know which bank is doing deal, and we are yet to see the outline, the modus operandi of how AMCON is going to absorb the toxic assets of the balance sheet of the troubled banks. But in whole, I would say in the short term, we may not feel the impact of this, but when we look at the medium to long term, definitely AMCON is going to have a positive impact on the banking sector. It's going to restore the confidence of the sector. And also, we expect that probably before the end of the year, because the deadline that the CBN gave to the banks was actually September. And we're expecting, we know that some banks are talking to one another, some are looking at acquiring and some are looking at mergers. So we believe that before the end of the year, we have a clear sense as to who is buying what, and we believe that's a good move for the banking sector.
Of course, that a longer-term perspective for the short-term trading day ahead today. What are your expectations on that front, on the back of that announcement that was made yesterday, now that the market has had some time to digest the kind of commentary that came to the fore?
Well, for today, we will expect, like yesterday, we saw that while the market has been going down yesterday, it was just a marginal depreciation of the market by 10 basis points. Today, we will most likely see the market rate sideways because now the market has been so corrected to the extent that the valuations of the stocks are firming up, and it gets to a stage that it also creates another entry for value investors, most especially the ones that are looking to take their positions for long term. So it's probably going to even out or appreciate in the marginal form, say like 10-20 basis points today.